He pulled the trigger. Once, twice, again, and again. Bullets tore through the night air, ripping into flesh, walls, and silence. A mother collapsed, her body struck again and again, 11 times in total. Her grandmother and uncle fell too, caught in the storm of his rage. In the middle of a quiet Chicago night, a family was ambushed by someone who once called them his own. And then, hours later, he went on Facebook Live.
On my soul, bro. On my soul, dude. Like, I'm hurt. I'm hurt like a motherfucker, G. I'm hurt like a motherfucker, dude, because I can't even believe I just did. And I don't even know what just pushed me to snap like that, dude. I don't even know what just pushed me to snap like that, G. That shit, I just lost it. I just lost it, bro. It's over with. It's over with, G. All that. Man, look. Ain't no motherfucker. Yeah, motherfuckers ain't gonna see me no more, G. I ain't running. I've been on a run over a year and a half. I'm not running from these people no more, bro. They come get me, bro. They come get me, bro. They come get me. That's all I'm gonna say. They come get me, Joe.
But how did it get to this? How did a man who was once welcomed into their home turn into the person who tried to destroy it? To understand that night, we have to go back to a story of love, control, rejection, and one woman's determination to move on. This is the story of Lasagna Agee, a young mother with a beautiful smile and big dreams for her son. She wanted a new beginning, a life free from fear. She had already endured abuse at the hands of her ex, Larry Sistrunk, and she was ready to break away for good. But Larry couldn't let go. His obsession grew darker, his jealousy sharper. And on one February night in 2021, his rage would erupt, leaving 3 people shot, a neighborhood shaken, and a chilling digital confession that would haunt everyone who watched it. Before we dive deeper into this harrowing story, welcome to City Crime Tales, where we uncover real stories that shake communities and test the limits of human resilience. If you love powerful true crime storytelling, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Now, let's find out how she survived 11 shots, and what led to that horrific night. Before the gunshots, before the Facebook Live, before the world learned her name through tragedy, there was just Lasagna, a young woman full of life, ambition, and love. Lasagna Agee grew up in Chicago, surrounded by family, love, and the kind of community where everyone knew each other's names. She wasn't just another face in the crowd. She was vibrant, driven. A woman determined to build something for herself and for her future family. She worked for the United States Postal Service, a job she was proud of, steady income, stability, a way to carve out a future. But she didn't stop there. On the side, she started her own small business, juggling responsibilities like a true go-getter. Friends described her as hardworking, funny, and fiercely loyal to the people she loved. And then she met Larry Sistrunk. He was charming. He made her laugh. He was attentive in ways that made her feel seen. Their connection felt real. It felt safe. In those early days, it seemed like the beginning of a beautiful future. They fell in love quickly. Family celebrations, late-night conversations, the joy of expecting their first child, everything felt like it was falling into place. Lasagna saw a future with him. She believed they were building something solid together. It was supposed to be the start of a new chapter, the kind every young couple dreams of. But like so many stories of abusive relationships, the storm was already brewing beneath the surface. And Lasagna couldn't see it. Not yet. In the beginning, the warning signs were easy to miss. A raised voice here. A disagreement there. Nothing that felt dangerous. Nothing that made her question his love. But after the birth of their child, something changed. Larry's behavior started to shift. He became more irritable. Little things set him off. What used to be small disagreements over housework or time spent apart began to turn into explosive arguments. At first, Lasagna brushed it off. Postpartum stress, maybe. Financial worries. The pressures of new parenthood. She wanted to believe it would pass. But it didn't pass. It grew. He started checking her phone constantly, questioning who she spoke to, accusing her of things she hadn't done. He wanted to know where she was, what she wore, who she texted. Every moment of her life slowly fell under his watchful, possessive eye. Larry began isolating her. He didn't want her going out with friends. He criticized her clothes. He demanded explanations for even the smallest things. At first she tried to keep the peace. She told herself, he's just protective. He loves me. But the foundation of their love was crumbling, and nobody saw it happening. This is the silent stage of many abusive relationships. When control starts replacing care, when fear hides behind phrases like, I just worry about you. And by the time the mask slips completely, it's often too late to simply walk away. For Lasagna, what began as love and laughter slowly turned into a cage built out of fear, manipulation, and emotional control. And every time she tried to assert herself, his grip tightened. Friends and family noticed subtle changes. She became quieter, more withdrawn. But like so many survivors, she didn't want to burden anyone. She believed she could handle it. She believed he could change. But behind closed doors, Larry was becoming someone else entirely. And that transformation would set the stage for everything that followed. Will Lasagna be able to endure with Larry for this long before she finally leave? Drop your comment below. There comes a moment in every survivor's story when the fear of staying finally outweighs the fear of leaving. For Lasagna Agee, that moment came after years of emotional manipulation, control, and abuse. By now, Larry's behavior had become unbearable. The constant monitoring, the explosive anger, the emotional roller coaster. It was eating away at her piece by piece. She was exhausted. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Abuse doesn't just bruise skin, it bruises your sense of self. She began to imagine a different life, one where she wasn't afraid to check her phone, where she didn't have to justify every minute of her day, where her son could grow up in a home filled with peace, not shouting and slammed doors. It wasn't easy. Leaving never is. But Lasagna found the courage to do it. She filed for a restraining order. She moved out of their shared home and into a new apartment, a place where she could finally breathe again. She thought she had finally done it. She thought she had escaped the prison she had been living in for years. For the first time in a long time, she felt hope. But what Lasagna didn't realize was that her freedom came at a cost. Because for a man like Larry, controlling, possessive, unable to accept rejection, her leaving wasn't the end of their story. To him, it was the beginning of a dangerous game. Larry didn't handle rejection or loss well. When Lasagna began carving out her new life, his rage began to boil beneath the surface. At first it started with phone calls. Late nights. Multiple numbers. Voicemails alternating between pleas and threats. One minute he'd say, I love you, come back. The next, you'll regret this. It was the classic cycle of manipulation. Love bombing, guilt tripping, then intimidation. But then, he escalated. Larry found out where she was living. He started showing up uninvited, lurking near her building, parking on nearby streets just to remind her he was still there. One night, she came home to find her belongings smashed, windows shattered, and a chill running down her spine that no amount of locks could keep out. He wasn't going to let go so easily. Larry was a man who couldn't stand being ignored. Every step she took to regain her life only pushed him deeper into a pit of jealousy, rage, and control. Friends told her to stay strong. Family offered support. But deep down she knew this wasn't over. The more independent she became, the more dangerous Larry felt. He began to weaponize their shared history. He used their child as leverage to stay connected. He made veiled threats, sometimes clear, sometimes hidden in sweet words, but always carrying the same message, you're not free from me. Lasagna tried to keep her distance. She followed legal steps. She changed her routines. But anyone who's been in her shoes knows, restraining orders are just pieces of paper. And paper can't stop a determined, angry man. For Larry, her leaving wasn't closure. It was insult. In his mind, she wasn't just rejecting him, she was humiliating him. And that wounded pride turned into obsession. He followed. He threatened. And slowly, he began plotting. What Lasagna didn't know was that this was the turning point. The invisible line where many abusive relationships shift from control to danger. She had broken free physically. But emotionally and psychologically, Larry was still trying to pull her back in no matter the cost. She was living in a fragile peace, watching her back, holding her son a little closer, trying to believe she could rebuild. But in Larry's world, rejection wasn't an ending. It was an unforgivable act. And soon, his anger would take a deadly turn. This was the calm before the storm. Do you think that Larry was doing too much? Drop your thought in the comment below. By early February 2021, everything was falling apart for Larry Sistrunk. Lasagna had moved on. She'd fought to build a new life, but Larry couldn't let go. He wasn't ready to lose control. He called constantly. He showed up uninvited. He used their son as leverage, weaving himself into her daily life through custody, pickups, and visits. It wasn't love anymore, it was possession. He began showing up at her family's home, starting arguments on the porch, destroying property, making threats. It wasn't just Lasagna he terrorized now, it was everyone close to her. Lasagna was exhausted. Her fear was growing. She looked over her shoulder every time she left work. She checked locks twice. She knew Larry's rage was building towards something. And she was right. February 21st, 2021. It was a cold Chicago night. Lasagna finished her shift at the USPS and drove home like she had many times before. She turned onto her street, unaware that Larry was already waiting. She pulled up, parked near her family's home, and stepped out of the car. And then she saw him. He started walking toward her. No yelling. No conversation. Just a man closing in. Her uncle noticed the commotion and stepped outside. Her grandmother came to the door. In seconds, a quiet evening turned into chaos. Larry reached for his gun. Her uncle moved toward him, and the first shots rang out. Her uncle was hit. Her grandmother rushed to help, she was shot too. And then, Larry turned toward Lasagna. Panic flooded her. She turned toward the car, where her young son was sitting, maybe to protect him, maybe to escape. But Larry raised his weapon and unleashed everything. He emptied the entire clip. 11 bullets tore through the air. Through the car. Through her body. She collapsed beside the vehicle, the place she thought might keep her safe. Inside the car, her young son sat frozen. He had just watched his father turn their home into a war zone. Then, something remarkable happened. Amid the gunfire, the ringing in ears, the panic, a small voice broke through. Lasagna's little boy climbed out of the car. He ran toward his mother, who lay bleeding on the ground. And with a trembling voice, he called out, "Come on, Mama. Mama, get up." In that moment, pure, innocent love cut through the darkness. A little boy, no older than a kindergartner, trying to pull his mother back to life. Neighbors poured out of their homes. Calls flooded 911. Larry fled into the night. But the image of that child standing beside his wounded mother would stay with everyone who witnessed it forever. Lasagna was hit 11 times, but she was still alive. Her uncle and grandmother were gravely injured but breathing. In a night filled with bullets and betrayal, life refused to give up. The confrontation. The attack. The moment her son called out to her. It all happened in minutes. But those minutes would change their lives forever. What Larry did next shocked everyone. While Lasagna lay bleeding on the pavement, her grandmother and uncle wounded, sirens wailing through the night, Larry Sistrunk was somewhere else. And instead of running toward accountability, he turned to Facebook Live. In a moment that stunned the community, Larry pressed that red button and started talking.
I love that woman dearly, bro. I love her dearly, bro. I love that lady dearly, bro. I'll never see another birthday. It's over with, Joe. If you love me, nigga, say that shit. Cause this gonna be the last time they never say it. If you love me, nigga, you really love me, nigga, call my phone. Cause it's gonna be the last time you gonna hear say it, Joe. I just f***ed up. And ain't nothing I can do about it. Ain't nothing I can do about it. I just f***ed up, bro. And that shit with me. That shit got me. Us threw everything away. Ain't no coming back from this, bro. Ain't no coming back from this shit, bro. Ain't no point in me. Ain't no point in me going against no. If any motherfucker got a problem with me, let that be known right now. Let that be known right now. Any motherfucker got a problem with me, let it be known. All this secret fake on you. Any motherfucker, bro. Any motherfucker. I'm over it. I'm already over it. I'm done talking about it now, but I ain't think about it. But motherfucker don't know what a nigga be thinking about on a daily basis when you gotta sit there and you gotta think about this before you get to the motherfucker. The real thought that you need to have in your head. You going through so much out of man. On my soul, bro. On my soul, yo. Like I'm hurt. I'm hurt like a motherfucker. I'm hurt like a motherfucker. Cause I can't even believe I just did, and I don't even know what just pushed me to snap like that, yo. I don't even know what just pushed me to snap like that, yo. That shit, I just lost it. I just it, bro. It's over with. It's over with, G. All that, man. Look, ain't no motherfuckers ain't gonna see me no more, G. I ain't running. I've been on a run over a year and a half. I'm not running from these people no more, bro. They come get me, bro. They come get me, bro. They come get me. That's all I'm gonna say is they come get me, Joe. My soul, and they better come ready. They better come ready. My soul. Any more problem right now, the time is to get it right now, bro. I'm putting up on any more my kids, bro. They know what I've been through to get here, bro. You know what I've been through to get here, bro, and the slightest thing, bro. I just threw everything away, bro. Like I just up, bro. I just up. And I didn't judge, making a judge. I love that, yo, that shit. That's the part about it, bro. I'm gonna stay strong, G. I'm over with, KT. It's over for me, KT. I hope you enjoy knowing me.
In the video spread, the community went into shock. People recognized his face. Larry Sistrunk, the man who had just gunned down a woman, her grandmother, and her uncle, was online, rambling about it like it was some tragic accident. Neighbors called police. Screenshots were shared. The video was recorded and reposted. Evidence, yes, but also a haunting window into the mind of a man moments after committing unthinkable violence. Meanwhile, police were mobilizing. They knew Larry was on the run, but now they also knew exactly what was going on in his head. His Facebook Live wasn't just disturbing, it was incriminating. In that video he revealed more than he intended. His words, his demeanor, his tears, they painted a picture of someone who knew he crossed a line but couldn't face it. It's chilling when you think about it. Moments after nearly taking 3 lives, Larry didn't hide in silence. He didn't flee the city immediately. He opened his phone and invited the world into his chaos. This is the intersection of modern violence and digital life, where crimes don't just happen in the real world. They unfold live with thousands watching, reacting, recording. Larry's live stream would later become crucial evidence, a time-stamped confession, documenting his state of mind just hours after the shooting. Prosecutors would use it to show intent, awareness, and unraveling. While Larry went live, Lasagna was in surgery, fighting for her life. Her grandmother and uncle were being treated for their injuries. Her son was surrounded by family, trying to process what no child should ever have to see. And somewhere out there, the man who caused it all was staring into his phone, crying for himself. It was one of the most chilling moments of the entire case. Not just because of what he said, but because he said it to everyone. The gunfire had stopped. The street was littered with shell casings, shattered glass, and silence broken only by sirens screaming through the night. Larry was gone. But Lasagna, her uncle, and her grandmother were still there, fighting. When first responders arrived, the scene was chaotic. 3 people down. A child crying. Neighbors shouting directions. Blood on the pavement. And yet, against all odds, Lasagna was still alive. Shot 11 times, her body riddled with bullets, she somehow held on. Her grandmother, despite being hit, was still breathing. Her uncle, too, was critically wounded but conscious. The resilience of this family defied what anyone expected. They were rushed to nearby hospitals, emergency rooms that would become battlefields that night. Lasagna went into immediate surgery. Doctors worked for hours, racing against time to repair the damage left by 11 bullets. Every second counted. Her grandmother and uncle were stabilized. But the trauma, physical and emotional, was immense. This was not just a shooting. It was an entire family nearly erased in one night. As the night turned into morning, news spread. A mother shot 11 times. A grandmother and uncle wounded. A child witnessing it all. The city of Chicago woke up to headlines that felt like a nightmare. But amid the chaos there was a miracle. They were alive. Barely. But alive. Against all odds, Lasagna was still alive. Her family? Still breathing. But they would never be the same again. Meanwhile, Larry Sistrunk had vanished into the night. The man who had shattered so many lives was on the run. Police quickly identified Larry as the prime suspect. Witnesses came forward. Neighbors described the shooter. Surveillance cameras caught glimpses of his car speeding away. And his own Facebook Live confession had just handed investigators a crucial piece of evidence. A nationwide manhunt was launched. Chicago police coordinated with law enforcement across state lines. They believed Larry had fled the area, but they also knew he couldn't hide forever. Tips started pouring in. People who had seen the live stream, neighbors who recognized him, family members afraid. The hunt intensified. Police issued bulletins. Highways were monitored. His face appeared on news stations across the country. 4 days, communities held their breath. Would he strike again? Where was he hiding? And would justice catch up to him before he did more harm? No one expected him to stay hidden forever. And he didn't. Back in Chicago, Lasagna was slowly beginning her long journey to recovery. Surgeries, therapy, trauma counseling. Her life would never return to what it once was. But she was alive to fight. And now, Larry would have to face what he had done. The aftermath of that night was filled with pain, but also resilience. A family that refused to break. A community that refused to forget. And a justice system closing in on the man who thought he could escape. Larry had fled more than 800 miles from the scene of his crime. But distance doesn't erase guilt, and it doesn't stop justice. 4 weeks, investigators across multiple states had been working tirelessly. Surveillance footage. License plate readers. Social media tips. It all led to one quiet town in Mansura, Louisiana. There, after weeks of hiding, Larry was finally found. On March 15, 2021, authorities surrounded the property where he was staying. There was no dramatic standoff, no escape attempt. Larry had nowhere left to run. His time was up. He was taken into custody without incident, extradited back to Chicago, and charged with multiple counts of attempted murder and aggravated battery with a firearm. The man who had terrorized a woman, her family, and a community would now have to face the full weight of the law. Lasagna's story is one that stays with you. It's heartbreaking. It's horrifying. But above all, it's powerful. It reminds us that behind every statistic, behind every headline, there are real people, with dreams, families, and lives worth protecting. It shows us how domestic violence doesn't always start with violence. Sometimes it starts with control, isolation, and fear. And if left unchecked, it can escalate into unimaginable tragedy. Lasagna's survival is a message to anyone listening. It's never too late to escape. But if you or someone you know is in a similar situation, don't wait. Speak up. Reach out. There is help. You are not alone. There are people who will listen. There are people who will help. And there are stories, like Lasagna's, that prove survival is possible. While Larry's world shrank to the walls of a jail cell, Lasagna's world began to expand again. Recovery was not easy. 11 gunshot wounds. Multiple surgeries. Months of physical therapy. And beyond the physical scars, the emotional healing that comes with surviving something so unimaginable. But Lasagna refused to be defined by what was done to her. She fought through the pain. She showed up for her son. She leaned on her family, her community, and the network of people who rallied around her. A GoFundMe campaign was launched shortly after the attack. People from across the country donated to help her rebuild her life. Medical expenses, housing, basic needs. It wasn't just about money. It was a symbol of collective support, proof that even in the darkest times, strangers will step forward for someone's survival. Physically, she began to heal. Emotionally, she began to find her strength again. Slowly but surely, Lasagna started over. She's not just surviving, she's thriving. Her story is a testament to the strength that lives inside survivors of domestic violence. A reminder that even when evil tries to break someone, the human spirit can rise again. Larry's capture closed one chapter. But Lasagna's journey opened a new one of resilience, rebuilding, and hope. Her survival wasn't just miraculous, it was powerful. This story isn't only about tragedy. It's about a woman who endured the unimaginable and lived to tell it. A woman who turned pain into power. A family that refused to be broken. And a community that stood behind her. If this story resonated with you or if you believe it could help someone else, share this video with your friends and family. Awareness can save lives. Sometimes all it takes is hearing one story to give someone the courage to leave. And if you haven't already, subscribe to City Crime Tales. Here we honor survivors, tell real stories, and shine a light on the truths that too often stay hidden in the shadows. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that matters. Together we can spread awareness. Together we can give survivors a voice. And together we can make sure stories like Lasagna's are never forgotten.